The US and Russia are going to build an epic space base. The Deep Space Gateway. That may sound like some sort of science fiction fantasy, but it could soon be science reality. NASA and Russia's space agency Roscosmos has signed an agreement to work on a new space station near the Moon. The proximity of the Deep Space Gateway to the Moon would create opportunities for lunar missions and future deep space exploration, such as missions to Mars and beyond. Space agencies from Japan, Europe, and Canada are also interested in working on the project that is currently at the conceptual stage of design. Once complete, NASA says it hopes to use the base to extend the presence of humanity in the solar system. The journey is on.
SPACEX to fly 2 tourists around the Moon next year. This week, SPACEX announced bold plans to next year fly 2 paying passengers around the Moon, using technology that's still in development. In 2018, SPACEX hopes to fly 2 private citizens deeper into space than any human has journeyed previously. The 2 travelers will trek some 400,000 miles around and beyond the Moon during the 7-day mission, before looping back to Earth. Before training for the mission, SPACEX says each of the unnamed passengers will undergo a series of tests for their health and fitness. The passengers are set to travel aboard a SpaceX Crew Dragon spacecraft, shot into orbit by a multi-stage Falcon Heavy rocket. The still-in-design rocket's first stage consists of 3 reusable rockets that produce 500,000 pounds of thrust. After separating, the central rocket propels the payload into orbit, where it continues on its voyage. SpaceX founder Elon Musk says the travelers will be trained for emergencies. However, the Crew Dragon spacecraft, which is also still being developed, will be mainly piloted autonomously. The crew can monitor real-time ship diagnostics, change the temperature, and take in views through one of the vessel's 4 windows. The spacecraft will conduct a flyby of the surface of the Moon before traveling further out into space, where no human has gone before. It will then use the Moon's gravity to slingshot back toward Earth. SpaceX hopes to launch the mission in late 2018, following a series of tests on the rocket and spacecraft. The identity of those traveling remains unknown, but one thing's for sure, they're very brave individuals indeed, and possibly also Scrooge McDuck rich. NASA finds star system with 7 Earth-like planets. NASA this week unveiled a major discovery of a star system that contains 7 planets similar to Earth. What's exciting is that 3 of them might just be habitable enough to support extraterrestrial life. Using the Spitzer Space Telescope and Earth-based telescopes, NASA scientists have found a star system called TRAPPIST-1, located 40 light-years from Earth. The ultra-compact system contains 7 Earth-like planets, with surface temperatures low enough to support water. 3 of these planets are believed to be in the habitable zone, close to the system's ultra-cool dwarf star. These planets take 6, 9, and 12 days, respectively, to orbit the dwarf star. Scientists believe their Earth-like planetary compositions may not only support water, but maybe even life. NASA calculations reckon that all the newly discovered planets have a rocky surface, but the space agency says more investigation is needed to determine if any of them contain water. In 2018, NASA will launch the James Webb Space Telescope, and will use this for further research into the TRAPPIST-1 system. This telescope can reportedly pinpoint water, methane, oxygen, ozone, and other elements of a planet's atmosphere. The TRAPPIST-1 system is located 235 trillion miles from our solar system, which means if you wanted to catch a flight there, the journey would take about 44 million years. So, still faster than a Spirit Airlines flight. SpaceX plans to launch thousands of internet satellites. SpaceX has filed an application with the U.S. Federal Communications Commission to launch thousands of satellites in order to provide high-speed internet coverage worldwide. SpaceX's satellite system consists of 2 sub-constellations of space stations. The first, known as the Leo constellation, would be comprised of 4,425 satellites in an orbit of at least 1,150 kilometers above the Earth. Each satellite can provide service up to 43.95 degrees away from bore sight. The second, Velio constellation, would include 7,518 satellites, orbiting about 335.9 kilometers above the Earth. Each satellite can provide service of up to 51.09 degrees from boresight. The satellites in the Leo constellation can cover approximately 4.5 million square kilometers, while those in the Velio constellation can cover less than 1/10 of that area. The system is designed to provide broadband and communication services for private and professional users worldwide. The deployment of the satellites is expected to begin in 2019 and be completed by 2024. China just achieved some spooky action. China is leading the pack in terms of quantum space experiments after the country announced that it had set a new distance record for beaming entangled particles from space to Earth. A photon can be split into pairs of entangled photons by a laser beam. The entangled photons influence each other. If one photon changes its state, the other reacts instantly by taking up a state relative to the photon. The photons remain engaged even when they are separated by great distances. Quantum communication could greatly enhance security, as any interception of the information will alter the state of the photons, giving away the eavesdropper. The experiment was conducted from the Messier satellite, orbiting 480 kilometers above Earth, as photons travel more smoothly in the near vacuum of space. The team produced entangled photons by sending a laser beam through a light-altering crystal on board the satellite. The photons were sent to two receiving stations in Delingha and Lijiang, 1,200 kilometers apart. Opposite polarization states were measured at the two stations, confirming the entanglement, otherwise known as spooky action, was achieved over a record distance. Although the hack-proof communication system is still a long way off, China uses various other ways to control the internet. Dubbed the Great Firewall of China, the government prevents Chinese netizens from accessing sensitive topics and foreign websites. The wall was fortified early this year by blocking virtual private networks that could allow users to bypass the firewall and gain access to restricted sites. Other methods the government uses to influence the internet include posting fake, grassroots comments on social media websites.